Hello, as a business analyst, you would have come across these two terms quite often, use case and functional requirements. Are they related? Are they different? Let's find out. My name is Gaurav. I am the founder and principal consultant at Business Analysis Upskill. Let's take an example. Let's say a university wants a new student portal to be developed, and you're working on this project as a business analyst. Your job as a business analyst is to gather and define the requirements for this new student portal system. And your developer team needs your requirements so they can design and develop the system. Now, business analysts use many techniques to define and gather requirements. Business process flow diagrams, activity diagrams, other UML diagrams, state transition diagrams, use cases, user stories. There's a lot of techniques out there. For the purposes of this session, we'll talk about use cases. Let's say you as a business analyst have chosen use cases as a technique to define and gather requirements for the student portal system. So what exactly is a use case? In simple terms, a use case is nothing but the different ways in which a user uses a system. In our case, it's a student portal system. So the different ways in which a user or a student would use the student portal system would essentially be our use case. Let's say that's your student portal system. And let's say this is your user or a student. Now, a use case describes the user's perspective of the system, and it's written in a way that it describes how the student uses the system and how the system responds back to the user. Then the next obvious question would be, how would we know as a business analyst the different ways in which a student would use the student portal system? Now, that information is gathered through interview sessions with your stakeholders or by running workshops or through other such means. We won't cover all of that in today's session though. Let's say you've had your conversations with your stakeholders and you understand three main use cases for the user in the system. For this short session, we'll only cover three main use cases. But do understand, in a real scenario on a real project, you would have many use cases, some of them related to each other, some extending from each other. Let's say in your requirement sessions or your workshops or interviews with stakeholders, you understand that a student uses the student portal system for three main uses. Let's say the student uses the student portal system to upload certain documents, such as their school semester reports, any other certification records they have, a driving license if they have one, so on and so forth. Now that's a use case for the student in this student portal system. You associate a user with this use case through something called as an association. Let's say in your conversation with the stakeholder, you discover that search document is the other use case, which means that a student should be able to log on to the system and search documents that they have previously uploaded. So, search document is the other use case for a student. Same as before, we have linked the student with its search documents use case through an association. Now let's talk about the third use case. Maybe the students want to use the student portal system to manage their profile information, which means the name, address, date of birth, gender, so on and so forth. So manage user profile could be the third use case. And that's how we depict the manage profile use case within this system. That's a simple use case diagram with only three use cases shown. On a real project, you wouldn't just have a use case diagram. You would have a textual description describing each of these use cases in detail, exactly how these use cases work, what the user does to the system, how does the system respond back to the user, what are the preconditions for the use case to occur, what are the post conditions after the use case has finished, so on and so forth. We won't cover all that for now, but do remember that a use case covers both the use case diagram as well as a textual description of the entire use case. Whilst use cases are a powerful technique, but your developers may not like it much. It doesn't go into the details and it doesn't tell you exactly the capabilities or functions the system needs to have, which the developer needs to develop. For example, your developer could come back to you and say, for the uploads document use case, what format can the user upload the documents in? Can the student only upload a single document, or are they allowed to upload multiple documents? Can the students upload all the multiple documents in a batch? What's the largest document size that the user can upload the document in? Same goes for your testing team. A tester may not be able to test the system only on the basis of a use case. So that leads us into functional requirements. Whilst a use case is written from the perspective of a user as to how a user would use the system, a functional requirement is written from the perspective of a system. Functional requirement is nothing but the capability of a system or the function of the system that meets the user's needs. So in our example, upload documents use case, what function or what capability should this student portal system provide so that the student is able to upload documents? The way I look at it is, a use case helps you identify and unearth functional requirements. So they both go hand in hand. So let's look at some examples of writing functional requirements. Going back to the upload documents use case. So as a business analyst, you would ask your stakeholder specific requirements for this use case. Can the user upload multiple documents in a batch? Let's say your stakeholder says yes, that's a requirement. So this is how your system functional requirement would be written. So your next question to your stakeholder would be something like, what formats can the user upload the documents in? Let's say your stakeholder's response to that question was PDF and PNG. This is how your functional requirement would be written. Now look at your functional requirements next to your use case. See the level of detail they provide. The functional requirements in conjunction with your use case make a more thorough set of requirements. Whilst use case tells you how a user interacts with the system and how the system responds to the user's request, the functional requirement on the other hand goes down to define specific functions that the system needs to provide. The two together would give you a very good set of requirements that your developers and testers would love. You can document functional requirements in applications such as Word and Excel. You could even use tools such as Jira or Enterprise Architect or many other such tools in the market. I hope you learned something about use cases and functional requirements today. We cover these concepts in more details in our courses, and we also cover several other such techniques. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to meeting you in one of our upcoming courses. I wish you the very best in your business analysis journey.